Hello and good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Wildcat Way Show. I am Kari E. Valance.
And I'm Kendale Lumpkins. Welcome to the newly dropped episode of the Wildcat Way Show, a show which we hope encourages and inspires all who are watching on our YouTube and listening on our podcast.
The Wildcat Way Show will drop a new episode every Tuesday morning at 10 a.m. where we will discuss current events and topics impacting us and our communities and how we are intentionally staying positive through all aspects of our lives. Now today we're going to be talking about motivation and mentoring.
Yes. And so these topics are very, very personal to me, Kari, because for one, the mentoring is what changed my life, right? Having people in my life that could speak to the real issues that I was dealing with, that could give me a model of where I wanted to go in my life. And so often as men, this is from my perspective, you know how women are more fond to talk about their issues and have girlfriends and stuff like that. But men, we kind of reluctant. We like to hold our stuff in. We don't like to tell people our issues or stuff that we're dealing with. And that help bring that really hinders us from getting where we're supposed to be. So the mentoring piece is real, real big for me.
Okay, now can we talk a little bit about who or maybe how your mentors that you've had in life have helped you?
Yeah, so I've had some mentors in my life. Still in my life. These people are still real instrumental in my life. I can remember a guy named John Connolly. You probably won't know him, but I just throw his name out there. So he helped give me an opportunity into safety.
Okay.
Right. So coming from where I come from, he gave me a different perspective. The first thing he ever did, like, you know, most people think that a mentor is going to be somebody that's going to do it for you, right?
Sure.
But that's really against what a mentor does. He gave me this book. He told me to read it. 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, something that he really, really was crazy about. So I read that book and we were able to have dialogue back and forth about it. Now he's 40 years older than me.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
But he was somebody that grabbed me and showed me what it was like to be professional in the workplace, and give me an example that I didn't have prior to that.
Right, and I think that's so important when people think about the aspect of maybe even becoming a mentor to a young person or who they're looking for to mentor them. It doesn't necessarily always have to be business focused. Right. Sometimes people think that in their minds, like a mentor is just someone that I'm going to learn business, economics, or something like that from. It could be about livelihood and sustainability and living the best, most positive life that you can.
And the truth is, Kari, you're going to have more than one mentor. Right? So he's a mentor. He gave me a model from the professional side, showed me how to conduct myself, how to carry myself in open settings where you're around different people. Then he also, it led to me dealing with other people in that same industry that helped me from a financial perspective. Right. Like my pastor. My pastor is one that's real instrumental in my life, Pastor Mark and Kathy, and he makes sure he checks in on me. Right. Like still to this day, and I'll be 35. I'm not a child. I'm not his child. Right. But he still checks in on me. Hey man, where you at? What you doing? How's everything going? Those people that I'm accountable to. Right. And I think young people, it's good for them to get a mentor early in life. Right. Because hanging around your friends, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but hanging around your friends, they don't know as much, y'all don't know nothing together. Right. So you got to go and get with somebody that know more than you, that can give you an idea or a model of what you could potentially be. Right.
I think that's so important, especially to our young people here at PRCC and our Wildcat community. Of course, we want you to be young adults, you know, and you'll make mistakes, you'll learn from your mistakes, but you have so many people here on campus, the two of us, any of your coaches, any of your instructors or teachers, any of the administrators are more than willing and more than hopeful that you will approach them and ask them for assistance in any aspect of your life.
And so this is another thing about mentoring. Young people have to understand this. It's not the mentor's job to come get you. Right. Because they have the information. Yeah. You want it. Right. So I would call my mentor. I would call this guy and he would purposely not answer. And I'm like, man, I've been calling you for a month. He said, I wanted you to figure it out. He already knew the situation. Right. But he wanted me to figure it out because we work for the same company. He had heard about it, so I'm calling him like, hey man, what should I do? He don't answer the phone. Right. And he said, Kendale, I'm not there to hold your hand every step of the way, but I will be a buffer. I will be a barrier for you. I won't let you fail. I won't let you hurt yourself, but I will let you figure some of this stuff out because that's how I got to where I am.
And I think that's so important for people to realize sometimes your mentor isn't just going to hand you out everything.
No,
and they're not
like
going to they're going to actually make you reach within yourselves to figure out and to go through those difficult situations.
And when you said reach into yourself, that's what's so powerful, because none of my mentors wanted me to be like them.
Right.
And this is the deception that's in social media, where people want you to do it just like them,
right,
or they think you're not successful.
Sure.
But they were trying to pull out of me what was already in me.
Right.
Those are the kind of people we should be trying to model our lives behind, to
Absolutely.
not say follow me, but
right,
follow what's on the inside of you, so it'll help you be the best version of yourself.
Right. I think that's such an important aspect of what you just said, that people need to really realize who they are and be true to yourself.
Yeah.
Try to be the best version of yourself and try to, live your life to a standard that you can be proud of all the time, and I think that that's what a mentor will really help you grow into.
Right, because Kari, when you think about the mentors that I have, when I think about them, I don't have to talk to them every day.
Sure, yeah.
To know that I'm accountable to them. Right. So we talked about this in the episode prior to this, and we talked about how we represent more than just ourselves. Right. Which is real, because I represent them to a certain extent, because their names are on the line because they took a chance on me.
Sure.
Which means that now, Kendale, you can't just live any kind of way.
Right.
Because not only are your kids and your wife watching, but the people that trust you, the people that took a chance on you, the people that believe in you are there for you.
It's even so simple as when you're applying for a new job, or a work-study position here on campus, or a new job and a new career, and you have to give references, and you have to have letters of recommendation. People, if you're not making the best choices, and or at the very least, if you're not learning from your mistakes, you can make bad decisions, you can make a mistake, but you can grow from them as well.
That's it.
People aren't going to vouch for you. They're not going to say, I'll put my name on you, I'll put my stamp of approval on you. And people have to understand that. And I feel like for some reason in this day and age, maybe it's all the social media stuff, and we're just seeing like a lot of the younger kids doing things like that, but people aren't taking accountability for their actions, and that's going to make people not want to put their stamp of approval on them.
Yeah, because Kari, like for instance, if somebody comes to me and asks me, hey, can I use you as a reference?
Right. You have to take that with a lot of consideration.
So I've had people ask me that before, and while I've never had to turn anybody down because I know the people that asked, I'm willing to turn people down because my name is really all I have.
Right.
And I can't put it on the line for somebody that I don't think is going to live up to a certain standard
100%,
that's going to represent me in the right way.
Yeah.
Right. And so we all willy-nilly, no, that's not how that works. Right. You have to have shown me that you're going to conduct yourself in the right way. Who is your mentor? Who are you mentoring? And we go back to that. We talk about having a mentor and being a mentor to somebody. Say young people that play sports.
Right.
On the campus, you're a leader out here.
Right.
Like, you should be going back to your high school. You should be going back to your community, grabbing some young person and showing them, hey, you can make it out. There's a better way, but let me show you how. Because that young person is going to hold you accountable. That young person, because nobody wants to be a hypocrite, right?
That's true.
When you say you do something, you want to be able to say, okay, I got somebody looking at me. And I'm telling you, a lot of times, Kari, that's what keeps me going in the direction I'm going, because of the people that I have before me and the people that are coming behind me.
I think that's such like almost a sweet thing that you said about the younger kids looking to our college students now, whether they be athletes, whether they be a part of the honors program, and they're being able to go back to high school and say, look, I just got into the honors program. I'm going to be able to go get a scholarship for free, go to school for free, and you can do it too. Now that they've taught those younger kids that, they want to show them how much better they can continue to be, and they can continue to grow, because the younger adults and the younger kids are seeing that and want to get that for themselves as well.
So your life is supposed to be inspiring or helping somebody else's life be better.
Right.
The way you live your life, whether you want people to know this or not, whether you want people to watch you or not, somebody's always watching.
Right.
And if they're going to either be inspired by it or discouraged by it. So you can live your life for you and do what you want to do, and I'm just living for me, but you don't know who you're damaging in the process, right? 100%. You don't know who you're hurting when you come to this campus and you don't live up to a certain standard, and you find yourself in trouble. Like somebody in your community wanted to play football, wanted to play basketball, wanted to be a cheerleader, wanted to play tennis, or whatever that looks like. They're looking to you. And I didn't realize that people were actually watching my life. Whenever I was in my 20s, I didn't know people were watching me. I just thought I was just living.
You don't think that at all. And
but people are really, really watching.
Right.
And so that helps you, like for instance, coming to school here, one of the most amazing things that I first saw whenever I was here was to have a young guy, Adam Brearwood, Dr. Brearwood, be a dean of students.
Right.
And he looked like he wasn't that much older than me.
Right, yeah.
And I'm like, how in the world?
He still doesn't look like he's that much older than some of the people here.
Right, and so I'm like, how in the world does he have that position at that age? Right, so that was an idea that I had in my mind at that time, like, hold on, man. Something different, right? So if he did it, I could do it too.
Sure.
And we had an instant connection. I was a student, he was the dean, but it was an instant connection even back then.
Right.
So he gave me a model. He gave me something to look to. And so and I'm telling you, I love culture, I love music, I love TV shows, I love all of that stuff.
Right.
But we have to really, really get back to finding the right mentors, because the music we listen to, the TV shows that we watch, the movies that we watch, that's not the best mentors that we have out there.
Not always, correct. I agree. I mean, sometimes, especially, we talk about this often, but it's a fact, with COVID and with different things that are happening, with the different movements that are going on, we have to look to the people that we really truly believe hold the same values within themselves. And not only that, they display them in the right way. Do you know what I mean? Because sometimes you can think something, and even if you feel it wholeheartedly, you may not be articulating it quite the right way. And so you do a disservice to yourself when you're trying to speak your mind. You're actually, you know, turning people off from it in the whole process. Yeah,
because there's a way that you go about doing it that's going to make the difference, right? So if you can misrepresent something that was good.
Sure.
Right? And I think that's what happens. So I'm not the one that just to easily follow just because I see everybody doing it.
True.
I want to know the details. I want to know what this is about. Why are we doing this? Because my name is on the line. Like I told you before, I have people watching me.
Yeah.
I have a son. I have 2 daughters that's watching my every move. I have a wife that I represent. My wife understands she's an extension of me when she leaves the house. I'm an extension of her whenever I leave the house.
Right.
So I can't just get involved with everything. Right. Just because everybody's doing it, no, that don't make it right. Right? And I'm telling you, the crowd is probably the least people you should be following.
100%. And I think that's so important for our young people, our students here to understand, because a lot of times they're not thinking about not the greater good, but the overall well-being of things like that. You know what I mean? Like, they're thinking in the moment, this gives me satisfaction right now, so this is what I want to do. This is an instant gratification, which so many people are trying to reach right now. They're not thinking about how it's going to represent you in the future, how it might affect the people that you are extensions of, as you said. They're thinking just in the moment.
And so that's why a mentor is important, because when you have a mentor, you can call and bounce those ideas off of somebody.
Sure, absolutely.
Right, because my mentor tells me this all the time, several of them. Kendale, I've forgotten more than you know, so it's okay to have a conversation.
Right.
And as men, especially young men, we have to be willing to do this, because in our minds, we may think something is right just because it feels right.
Right.
But man, I done made so many mistakes just chasing my feelings. Now that I call somebody, hey man, this feel good, but let me see what you think about this, right? Because they let me know this is not the right direction. I've seen that happen. I've seen it before. And that's why a mentor is so important. And I believe that has helped my life. And now I'll say this, just because you want somebody to mentor you don't necessarily mean they want to.
That's true.
Because you have to be something that people feel like they could take a chance on. Right. That they're going to invest their time and their energy and their efforts, and you're going to get a return back, like you're going to go and be something greater. They don't just give that to anybody. Right.
Well, I mean, it is an investment in their time and their energy, and they're taking time away from what they're doing every day and their everyday go get and spending time with their family to, even at the very least, call you and check on you and send you text messages. So I think sometimes maybe young adults struggle to find a comfortable way of approaching potential mentors and starting to start that conversation. Like you said at the beginning, maybe females are a lot more comfortable talking about things. I will go to any of my coworkers, any of my administrators with any questions that I need and talk openly and freely and get their advice, or any older people that are my mentors in my lives, my aunts. I have some of the best aunts that I can just talk on the phone with. My mom is one of my biggest mentors, my older sister, and talk. not all guys do that all the time. So how can young adults, especially boys in particular, get the confidence or know the best way to maybe approach a potential mentor?
So I would say first, be genuine, right? People can tell when you're faking.
Sure.
They can tell when you're being phony. So just be open and honest about what you want and what you expect to get. Because most people that you want to mentor you have achieved a certain level of success, and we can tell when you're just on it, just trying to cling to it just so you could benefit.
Riding the coattails or something like that.
So nobody wants that.
Sure.
Right? So we want people that are really, really interested in being better, doing better whenever it's time for us to mentor you, because like you mentioned, I have a wife and kids that my time is really, really valuable.
Right.
So for me to say I'm gonna spend an hour with you a day, that takes away from my family. Right? So you have to be genuine, and you have to know what you want. And you have to be okay communicating that, right? What do you want from me? What can I help you with? Right? That needs to be something you need to bring to me, not me bringing it to you.
I agree, and I feel like sometimes that's a struggle for some people. I mean, not everyone is as comfortable talking about things as you and I are, you know what I mean? We're both very outgoing people. I feel like I hardly ever meet a stranger. I'm the type of person that will always talk your ear off if I get the chance. Not everyone's built that same way. But there are other avenues that you can kind of follow to do that if you're not a face-to-face person. I mean, some people feel better just sending emails or reaching out over the phone or just talking to someone to talk through their thoughts and their issues and try to progress and make their lives better. Any way and any avenue that you can find that if you feel the most comfortable doing that is definitely the best way to start.
Yeah, because like you said, everybody's not comfortable talking face to face, but there's so many other avenues that you can use. And what I realize is that it also has to be mutual too.
Sure.
Right? So I don't feel nothing forced whenever I'm talking to my mentors.
Right. It's like, just a comfortable conversation.
Exactly. Whenever I'm like my dad, like right now we're the best of friends.
Right.
And there's not, oh, here he go again calling. That's not the way that's received.
Right.
Because now you're trying to force something that don't really fit. Whenever I'm talking to people now, that's the way I want it to be. It got to be mutual.
Right.
But you can't get the mutual understanding without the conversation.
Sure.
Whether it's phone, face to face, text, whatever that looks like, you have to have the initial conversation and the courage to be turned down.
Yeah, that's true.
Right, because
that is reality.
That's a part of it, right? People are busy, people got stuff they doing, and they not that they don't want to help you, it's just that you may not fit in their schedule right now. So, and I think some people can take offense to that, right? So they fear rejection, they fear asking these questions, but I think you just push past all that stuff, because I know that a mentor will help your life in so many ways. Right? Being challenged, being corrected, being pushed is good for you.
Those are just building blocks that help keep you getting stronger and stronger and better.
Right. And if we don't have the ability to push past that, right, to go ask for help, and it would be foolish of me to not know something, and not go ask somebody that know it.
Oh yeah. Right? If you don't know something, just ask the questions to find it out.
That's what makes it comfortable for me. Like, hey, if you don't want to tell me, okay, but I don't know. I would rather ask and get an answer than me sit there and be like, well, I just don't know this. I won't. But that's not the way that works.
I know. But there are people that don't do that. But we're just trying to say, if you are that type of person, all you have to do is ask.
Yeah,
all you have to do, it's the worst that could ever happen is never going to be what you're thinking in your mind. You always think that it's going to be the worst thing in the world. All they're going to say is no, or they're going to say, I believe that you can figure it out for yourself, which goes back to what your mentor was trying to tell you when he was ignoring your phone calls for a month. He was like, you got this, Kendale. Just think about it for a minute and listen to your gut, and you know the answer already.
And I think you said something so powerful. In our minds, we think of the worst thing, right? So what we do is that we project that onto their answer.
Sure.
Many people are more receptive to us than we think they are.
Yeah.
They're more inviting, they're more accepting, they're more receiving than we think they are. So, but in our minds, that's what we say. Oh, no, they're not going to accept. They don't want to talk. So you sit there in isolation and not have that conversation, and it's your fault that you didn't get that.
And it's a real thing. Like, I do it sometimes, and I have to talk myself down off the ledge. Like, Kari, it's fine. Just ask the question.
Right.
So we just really want to put that meaning out there. It's okay to ask. the worst thing will be to be told no, or you can figure it out. I have the faith in you that you will be able to do it.
Yeah, so I would encourage any young person, even adults,
right, sure,
right, to find a mentor. Now, not just anybody, because my mentor knows me personally, right? Knows stuff about me that most people don't know. But being open enough and understanding that these people are a safe place for you, that makes the difference. Like, they need to be a safe place, right? Because you share some intimate stuff with them, some struggles, some stuff that everybody don't get a chance to see, right? And the mentor got to be one that could trust you and you could trust them.
Are you ready to join the fastest growing community college in Mississippi? Pearl River Community College is ready for you. With improvements at each of our 4 locations in Poplarville, Hattiesburg, Waveland, and online, securing your future has never been more exciting. 42 career and technical programs and academic transfer options allow you to build a bright future at the river. When faced with adversity, Wildcats never quit. Visit prcc.edu to learn more. So now we're going to talk a little bit about motivation. What motivates you? How do you get motivated from your day-to-day life to everything in the big picture?
So motivation, I think, can be tricky. And the reason why I say tricky is because everybody's motivated by different things. And so my motivations start with first God, family, and me helping other people. And so I center my life on those things, right? So when I see my kids, regardless of how I feel, I can't let them down.
True.
That's my motivation.
100%.
Right? So I told you a few weeks back that I finished my degree. I didn't necessarily have to have a degree to do what I do. But the motivation behind it was for me to finish what I started, for my kids to see me get it, and then for other young people to know it was possible. So the motivation, even when I'm feeling down, when I'm feeling bad, that's what keeps me going. That's what keeps me pushing, right? And so motivation, you have to understand what you want. Everybody wants you to have what they want you to have. I'm not inspired. I'm not motivated by everything that everybody else is doing. Some people want fame. I'm not into it for fame, because I know that means people have to like me in order for me to be famous. But you can like me and I can hate myself. Right? So my motivation are centered on things that I believe are sustainable throughout the rest of my life. My wife, my kids, the people that I know that really, really value me.
Absolutely.
That's where my motivation comes from.
I think sometimes people, in general, it doesn't have to be young people, it could be people of any age, use almost the wrong type of motivation to sustain them and to give them drive. And then they never feel full. They never feel fulfilled. They never feel whole from that. Even if they attain their goal, which they were so motivated to get to, they still feel empty.
Yeah, because what happens with that is that, so if I have motivation to say, let me go beat Kari this week. Right. So I beat Kari in something. I produce something. I do this and I do that, and I'm motivated by it. But that's not really something that's going to fill me up, because I'm competing against somebody that really is not who I am, right? So I should be in competition with myself. So people have motivation for the wrong things. And that's why it's like, okay, well, money is my motivation, then what's enough money?
Where's the end point?
When do you stop that? When do you stop money being your motivation? If it's a nice car, if it's a nice house, and that's all you're doing it for, then man, I'm telling you, that is some empty stuff to be putting your hope, your motivation in, because eventually that fades.
Exactly. Then, I mean, we're not saying those aren't reasons to go out and work hard.
Without a doubt.
But the money, the house, the car are things that are used by your wife, your kids. It's your livelihood and your family and stuff. But your motivation is to provide for them. And to give them the life that you may have not have once had, and the life that you've always dreamed of. I think that is the key for motivation, right?
Yeah, when you think about that, like, but you went back to your wife and your kids, your family, people that are benefiting from that. Like, I know people that their only motivation is to go get money, go get stuff so they can show other people that they got it. And I'm thinking to myself, like, I'll be 35 this month. That is not something real to chase.
I know.
Because what does it matter that you see me with it? So why is my motivation attached to you liking something opposed to something that's fulfilling to me?
I think that's the key point. Your motivation in any aspect of your life should not only fulfill you, but give you joy and an inner peace and a satisfaction that can be just all encompassing. You know what I mean? Not just that momentary gratification.
Because Kari, you know just like I know that I know a lot of people that got a lot of money and miserable.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Their motivation was strictly to get money.
Right, right.
But they lost family, friends, some close relationships, but they got the money.
Right, but now who's there to reap the benefits with them?
So, you know, you sacrifice something that's not really worth it.
Right.
Right, and so motivation for me is centered on those three principles: God, family, and helping other people.
Sure.
Because I understand that's where the greatest reward comes for me. So there are days whenever I have to get up in the morning.
Right.
And I work out in the mornings at 5:30.
5:30. If I see him in one more picture at 5:30, I'm gonna start feeling bad about myself.
So this is crazy because I really I couldn't stand it at first. I've grown to love it. It's a part of my life now. But like, I would wonder, like, man, why are you getting up this early to work out? What's the motivation behind it?
Right.
The motivation behind it is wanting to be healthy.
Sure.
The motivation behind it is wanting to show my family a healthy lifestyle. And then hopefully my kids will see the reward in working out, that it helps you mentally, helps you physically, right? And so that's the motivation behind it.
Sure.
Not just to look buff.
Right.
Because who cares?
Exactly.
At the end of the day, who really cares that you got a lot of muscles?
Exactly.
Right? So that's a fickle thing to be motivated by. But now I've centered myself on why I want to do what I do.
Right.
That's what pushes me to do it whenever I don't feel like it. And see, that's what we need to realize when it comes to motivation too. Your motivation can't be centered on something that won't sustain you when it gets rough.
Oh, 100%. Yes, absolutely. And I think even our young people here, they may be motivated by different things, right? Our athletes, they're true competitors. Their motivation, their drive is the game. They're playing each game to game with a bigger picture in mind, and that's the end of the season, whatever championship that may be. You know, our science Olympiads, they're motivated by that yearly competition that they're able to participate in. Our voices singers are the most talented singers that we have around here. Their motivation is to be on stage and to share their gift of their voices. And I think it's so important for our kids here in our community and all of our Wildcat family to know what it is that motivates you and to share it with the world.
Yeah, because so Buster Douglas, he beat Mike Tyson.
Right.
And his mom passed before he did it. But he made a promise to his mother that he was going to win that fight. So Mike Tyson, I don't know what his motivation was before that, but that's a strong motivation, strong point to have when you're fighting somebody.
Right.
You could be losing, but see, his motivation sustained him, and he eventually beat Mike Tyson.
Right.
So for me, that's why it's important for me to have my motivation centered on something that I know would not just be something instantaneous, or I get a gratification out of it right away, but motivating me to do something that I see rewards later, right?
100%.
And so I think that's why motivation can be tricky, because people say, oh, well, I'm motivated to do this. But I always want to know why.
Right.
Why are you motivated to do that?
Right.
Now, some of these young athletes come from some bad backgrounds, and they come here and hey, I want to get my mom out of a bad situation. Okay. And you could do that, right? That's the motivation.
Right.
That's a good point to have when it comes to I'm playing this game to give back to the community. Right. Right? But just to say you're gonna get money. Right. Because I'm telling you, I've seen a whole bunch of people got a lot of money. Right. And they're miserable. And then another thing, when you think about when you get the money, you could be a big fool with money. Oh, which happens quite often. Like but when you don't have the right motivation, right? You don't have the right goals. True, yeah. It's eventually gonna show. I think my biggest motivation going through my life always is just my husband and my kids. My motivation is for myself to be happy because then I exude my happiness to my family, you know? And I feel like a lot of moms feel this way, that they're constantly thinking about 27 different things at once. Like, I'm at work, but I'm also thinking about my kids at preschool. I'm also thinking about my husband out of town. And at the house, I forgot to turn on the vacuum cleaner before I left, and I have dishes that I have to do, things like that. But as long as I'm like happy and going about it as much, that gives me the most motivation to do so. Yeah, because your inner peace is valuable. Yeah. Right? And so when you don't have that, your motivations could be centered on the wrong stuff, selfish stuff, and then it don't really fulfill you in the end. Like for me, I take pride in being a good dad. I take pride in being a good husband. Like that's my motivation. I tell my wife all the time, she may not think this, but she's really, really spoiled. Right? So my wife.
Can't wait for her to watch this.
My wife, I'm telling you, and baby, look, I know you're gonna see it and have some comments about it, but I'm telling you, like she's really, really spoiled. Cause I try to make it to where she don't have to worry about nothing. Right? Where, hey, you go to work, you take care of your business. Yeah, you gotta be a mom. But I don't want. That motivates me. That means something to me to know that, man, I could take care of my wife, I could provide, I could cover them, I could be there for them. And that's what matters to me, right? So I'm not into the fame. I'm not into the popularity. I'm not into being seen by other people. Like I'm into things that really, really matter. And that's what my motivation is centered around.
I think what's so important too, especially with what we do, our motivation is to motivate.
That's it.
You know, like I use the hashtag motivation, inspiration, uplifting for all of our posts because that is truly our goal and what we want to do at the end of the day with this podcast and with this show. I mean, if we can just help and touch and affect one people's lives, I think that we've done our job. And I think we're on the way to see that come to fruition.
And so, Kari, when you have that motivation and it's about helping other people, you would be amazed at the countless young people that just send me a random message. I say, Mr. Kendale, thank you for that post. That helped me. Thank you for sharing that. I needed that right now in my life. That's fulfilling to me. Right? So my cup continues to be poured into and I just pour out. I don't just get it for me. This is for other people.
Absolutely.
And so to know that you're helping and inspiring somebody else to be better, to do better, man, there's no greater reward in this life to me than that. To know that your life is making a difference in somebody else's life. That's what motivates me. Not to be, I want to be the #1 speaker in the world. I mean, that's subjective.
Everyone has their favorite.
So who says you're #1? Because you can ask 20 people and somebody may say, nah, you're 10 on the list. So my motivations are not in somebody else's opinion. It's knowing that I'm making a difference in somebody's life.
Being impactful, being inspirational. And that's really all we want the takeaway from all of this.
That's it.
And going back to the mentoring, if anyone out there is looking for any type of assistance or any type of help, has any questions, feel free to reach out to us at any time. Please continue to subscribe to our YouTube channel and to watch every Tuesday at 10 a.m. for new episodes that are going to drop. Please follow and like and share all of our Facebook and Instagram and Twitter posts. You can follow us at the Wildcat Way Show, and we're so thankful that you are tuning into us and watching and sharing everything. So we'll see you next week.
And I'll say one more thing. If you have a question, you can send it through a DM.
For sure.
So you can send a message through the DM
that's
on
a great
there,
idea.
And let us know, We'll get your questions out, we'll answer them on the show, or even contact you personally and have conversation.
I would like to, we'll just talk about some, housekeeping that we need to do. I would love to at some point start an email address for the Wildcat Way Show. So that way if we do have any viewers or listeners that have any questions for us or have a comment or have any feedback for us, we are totally open to that and want to get, any information that you have for us or any information that we can give to you. So we will start working on that. So that way I would like to have a direct line of communication with everybody who's watching.
Right. Good deal.
All right, so thank you so much and we'll see you next week.